We're going to just very briefly touch on time blocking with the one thing today. Protecting your time blocks is probably one of the hardest things that you'll do in this business. How many of you have already noticed that? Raise your hand. Right? Protecting your time blocks is so hard. So I want to give you some tips today on how you do that. Now, you've already heard this morning about the magic that happens when you commit to your one thing. You get a $2.5 million listing. You get potential future seller names when you're outdoor knocking. You connect with someone from Long Island, and you also connect with someone who's looking for a buyer's agent. When you get out there and you do your one thing every day, magic happens. That's why I say you'd rather be lucky than good. How many of you know that Astrid got out and actually was good? She got out and did door knocking and she got lucky. She ran into somebody who's looking for a buyer's agent. You get lucky when you're doing your one thing, right? Because can we control what is within our control? Doing the activity or the result of the activity? What's in our control? Somebody tell me.
Doing the activity.
Doing the activity.
Doing the activity. Exactly. The result is completely out of our control. There's nothing we can do about it. Somebody's off mute. I'm going to mute you. There we go. So when we actually, Renee, I'm muting you, and Travis, because you guys are back feeding to each other. When you get out and do what your one thing is, you will get lucky and run into folks that are either looking to sell or know someone that wants to sell, or maybe doesn't want to sell today, but they may want to sell in 6 months. Raise your hand if you need listings in 6 months. Raise your hand if you need listings in a year. Okay. My 25 plus years in the business, I've been in touch with people that called me 2.5 years later, or I reached out to 2.5 years later, and they were ready to list, but I dated them for 2.5 years. Your responsibility, the only thing you're in control of is your actions to talk to people every day. That's all you're in control of. The result, you must let it go. So let's talk about your time blocks. Okay, so your time blocks, there's 2 ways that you get distracted from your time blocks, or not 2 ways, 2 activities or actions that may happen. One is just the general stuff. And that's where discipline comes into play, where you have to say no to that stuff and put it to the side until your lead gen is done. Calls that come in where you see the person's name and you know it's not urgent and you know you can call them back after your lead gen. Don't answer those phones. Don't answer those texts. But every now and then we're going to get a call that's urgent, right? Like, let's say we got a closing at 1 o'clock and something's going on with it. And we may get a call about that during our lead gen time. Well, that would be a priority call that you would want to take, but keep it short and sweet and get right back to your lead generation. So I'm going to give you some ways that you can protect your time blocks. All right. Write these down. 1, build a bunker that has a door and you can put a sign on the door that says, until my one thing is complete, everything else is a distraction, including you. I'm serious. When I was selling real estate, I had this sign on my door because my husband also worked at home, and it said, until my one thing is done, everything else is a distraction, including you. And I put his picture on it. Seriously. There you go. Terry, you got it. That is the sign. It says, in case I can't say no, this sign will do it for me. This is from the One Thing book. You can buy this sign or you can just make it yourself. Do not disturb. I'm doing my one thing. So build a bunker. Find somewhere to work that you do not get disruption and interruption. If it's got glass in it, install a shade so you can't be seen. Make sure it's not a place where you'll be tempted to do other things, like, I don't know, watch TV, something like that. Don't have a TV in there, right? So build a bunker so that your brain starts associating that place with your place to go. 2, store provisions. Who knows what I'm talking about with store provisions? Joanne, what does that mean? Store provisions. What's it mean?
That means water, snacks, anything that you would use as an excuse to go out of that room and get.
Yes, because discipline is not, willpower is not always on will call. All right. Willpower is not always on will call, which means that if you want to make an excuse to go get coffee, you will. You will. All right. 3, sweep for minds. That means turn off your phone, shut down your email, exit your internet browser. Your most important work deserves 100% of your attention. 4, enlist support. So here's where you call those folks that might be most likely to interrupt you: coworkers, co-agents, if you're in an office, spouse, significant other, children, and you enlist their support in not bothering you. I had one agent that I coached one time, and his kids were constantly bothering him during his lead gen time during summer break. How many of you have kids at home during summer break? Raise your hand. Okay. So what they did was, this was so cool. We talked about it and I said, where do your kids really want to go? And he said, Disney. And I said, great. I said, go put a sign up in your kitchen where your kids can cross off each day that you're responsible for lead generation. And when you get to 60 or 90 days, whatever it is, then they earn the right to go to Disney. But the way that they earn the right to go to Disney is they don't bother you during your lead gen time. Those kids never bothered him during his lead gen time. As a matter of fact, they figured out how to make their own cereal. They figured out how to do a lot of things on their own because they wanted to go to Disney so bad. And every day that dad finished his lead gen, they put an X on the calendar, counting down. So enlist the help of other people to create your bunker area. And then the last thing, guys, is mindset. You must reset your mindset every day. Your brain is an organ. It wants you to run away from pain. It's there to protect you from risk. And so you must take control of your mindset because your brain is automatic. And reset your mindset every single day. Listen to a song that gets you fired up. Mandiza is my girl. Whatever Mandiza has, as long as it's, upbeat, I can reset my mindset. Who is it for you? Is it AC/DC? I don't know. Is it Run DMC? I don't know. I love Run DMC. I'm a child of the 80s, right? Okay. Whatever it is, reset your mindset and look at me. Look at me right now. Go lead generate. We're getting off this call. Take your internet browser down, get off your email, get off your texting, put your do not disturb on, get your call list out. That's another way to keep you off the internet, is if you'll print your call list instead of having it in your CRM printed out the night before. So you just come in and go down the call list, get to your lead gen, get it done, do your activity, and then you have the rest of the day to do what's important as well. But do your one thing first. All right, guys, I love y'all.